Dreamscape presents The Ghost of the Kenai by Aurora Hardy. Narrated by Nick Mondelli. 1. Ancestors, accept my gift. Look upon me kindly and bless my hunting. I am Kadinalchan, son of the Keshka, chief of the Dena'ina. Kadinalchan, also known as Axe Quickly, laid the offering of dried fish on the ground. He stood in a little clearing with his cousins, Spear and Last Waters. The sparse meadow was held in reverence by the Dena'ina as a burial ground of a village from the earliest memory. Gifts of food were left for the ancestors before hunting or fishing or berry-picking activities began. The ancients smiled on the gifts and blessed the givers with abundance. The birch and alder leaves on the trees at the edges of the opening were yellowing. The promise of the sun rising over the Chugach Mountains began to sear the skies. The three young men stood in silence, like the sturdy birch trees that walled the meadow. Axe quickly murmured, "This is Yaganan. The spirit of Yaganan is our life spirit." He smiled softly as he thought of the good land, his homeland of the Kenai Peninsula, as his cousins nodded in agreement. He was filled with the joy of being Dena'ina. His people were Alaskan native Athabascans. The Dena'ina, called Tanana by the Russians, were the inhabitants of south-central Alaska whose traditional territory reached from inland Sutton to Chickaloon, Talkeetna, and Lime Village. The Dena'ina villages stretched south to Seldovia and Pedro Bay on the coast of the Pacific Ocean. The Kenai Peninsula projected out from mainland Alaska, surrounded by the Pacific Ocean waters of the Gulf of Alaska to the east and to the western arms of where Takatnu, or Cook Inlet, extended inland. The Dena'ina lived along both sides of Takatnu. Takatnu, or Big Water River, stretched from the Gulf of Alaska to the upper reaches of the 15-mile-long Nuti, the Kanik arm. From the north, the Great Susitna and the Kanik rivers dumped silty brown currents into the Takatnu so that the upper reaches were opaque. The Tutla, or Turnagain arm, was narrower than the Kanik arm and coursed 45 miles.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?